Hearing more tonight from the Harvard professor arrested at his Cambridge home. Henry Louis Gates and the officer who made the arrest met with President Obama at the White House for beer last week. In his first public appearance now since that meeting, Gates today told an audience at a book festival on Martha's Vineyard that he has received numerous threats.
It was stressful. A lot of death threats, a lot of bomb threats. I've been, the university's encouraged me to move. So I have to make that decision.
Well, I'm going to play this part in its entirety. It's short, but you have to see Barbara Walters, assuming that she is the pinnacle of success for white people, highly educated and accomplished, and in the standpoint of being in the top brass when it comes to the United States media outlet. You have to hear, now listen to me closely, you have to listen to her, Barbara Walters of ABC News, shape a great racist turd of a lie into a media mystery, a question mark.
The 911 call about a possible break-in at Harvard professor Henry Gates' home, placed by neighbor Lucia Whalen, has been released. Take a listen.
I don't know if they live there and they just had a hard time with their key, but I did notice that they kind of used their shoulder to try to barge in, and they got in. I don't know if they had a key or not because I couldn't see from my angle.
What black or Hispanic?
Well, there were two larger men. One looked kind of Hispanic, but I'm not really sure. And the other one entered, and I didn't see what he looked like at all.
Now, also during the 911 call, she says maybe they live there. They have suitcases. So it's, you know, it's one of those things where you think you know what's going on and you don't. And, you know, this poor lady did the neighborly thing because someone had said to her, I don't know what to do, I should call.
But it also shows that the policeman did not come with any preconceived ideas. That had been one of the questions. Had she said, the neighbor, I saw two black men, that when he came to investigate, he did not know what he was going to find. I don't know whether this changes anything. They're supposed to sit down and have a beer with the president. What is it, tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Thursday.
Isn't tomorrow Thursday?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Tomorrow? Really not.
Tomorrow?
But you know, it's very interesting. Tomorrow's Wednesday.
Wednesday. So it's happening on Thursday evening.
One of our producers, Christian, brought up the fact about Gates, you know, that he was coming all the way from China. That's a long flight. We don't know if he had a meal or not. That tends to make one cranky. The long flight that you're taking.
Well, yeah, it's, you know, look, I'm sorry. If somebody, people at my house are yelling and there's cops everywhere and I'm panicking, you know, stuff happens and they're going to figure it out over a beer.
Jet lag angry. You said jet lag angry. No, angry when you show ID and then there's still...
No, because you brought that up. You just said...
No, I'm just saying it's another point that he brought up that maybe he could have been cranky.
So the question is, did Officer Crawley make the racist decision that the black man in front of him was a criminal despite not having any evidence or preconceived notion to bring him to that decision? That was Barbara Walters' media question mark in a nutshell. I'm so tired of media question marks. I mean, it's so lazy. It's as if they are not trying to do their job. Here, we'll just leave it up to the people. Let's just throw it to the lions. Let's see what the lions think. Come on. You get paid for a reason, not to just throw question marks at people. Do your job. That's what you require of us, to do our jobs. You do yours. Stop throwing us question marks. It's stupid. Oh, there's that word again. Oh, sorry, Whoopi. Who cares? See, here's the facts. Straight up in a nutshell. Hardcore. If he had no preconceived notion, then he came to the racist conclusion all by himself. It's in his police report. All right, see. Okay, see, people. A lie is a lie is a lie is a lie. Officer Crawley perjured himself with that ridiculousness that he put into his police report. See, the thing is that the woman never really talked to him, the one who called the police. He told her to stand over there. And that's what she did. Basically, she complied with the police, just like Henry Louis Gates complied with the police when he asked him to step outside. Now, if he was completely honest with Henry Louis Gates, he would have said, hey, step outside, but if you do, I'm going to arrest you as soon as you step out onto your porch. Now, see, that's being an honest man. That's being a person who's not using trickery. But this guy, see, he has something to prove. The problem that he was having with Gates was that Gates is a professor and that he is just a lowly police officer. That's what he felt in his head. And he couldn't believe that this man, this black man, could have a house in Cambridge on the Harvard University campus that he can call his own, and that the white man couldn't do that. So he got upset. And he's like, how dare this black man talk to me this way in this black man's own home? I shall show him who has the power. But Crowley didn't realize what he was stepping into. One big pile of smelly cow pie littered with flies and all types of stuff. And it will be his own making. He should have thought first. It's just not the time period in the United States history to do anything as such. Maybe about 50 years ago, this would have been most appreciated by a whole bunch of racist whites who outnumbered the ones who were not racist. But these days, it's not appreciated whatsoever. People are trying to move on. They're trying to go straight into the future. They're tired of this ridiculousness. They're tired of Bush. They're tired of the Bush voters. Hell, I got a whole bunch of Bush voters on my page who sat up there and voted for Bush too many times. And now they're sitting up here confused. They're confused about the fact that, how dare the president say that the officer acted stupidly? Well, the officer did act stupidly. There's no way around that. That's why his name is Mud. That's why he's been caught in a lie, a big perjury lie. He's absolutely lucky that his commanding officer decided to go ahead and drop the case. Because if they took it to court, it would have been an embarrassing loss. Because he lied on the police report. Everything that happened contradicts what was on the 911 tapes. See, the confusion that's going on in Barbara Walters' head is the fact that the media lies all the time. They start out with one story on Monday and they end up with a completely different story by Friday. So they don't even know when they're telling the truth and when they're not. That's why she could simply just say, oh, well, this just proves that he wasn't, thinking about race. What it actually proves is, Barbara Walters, is that when he got to the scene, he was looking for a black man. Soon as he saw brown people, he said, I'm going to arrest somebody black. That's why his report is different from the actual happenings. So once caught in a lie, even by a judge, a competent judge, one that's awake and not sitting up there senile, is going to look at it and say, look, you already lied. How can I believe anything else you say? It is a turd of a case. There's no way around it. The guy lied in the paperwork. It contradicts the 911 tape. So, therefore, when he got there, he interjected race. He said that the neighbor, so-called neighbor, who's not actually a neighbor, said 2 black men. She never did. See, this was the police attempt to put all suspicions away from them onto her, except they forgot they recorded the mess. So he just got caught in his big giant lie. And now Barbara Walters is caught in his big giant lie. Hey, go down with the ship. Doesn't matter. Because what I'm going to do right now is commend the President of the United States. Because what did he do? Well, he made the vast majority of African American people look civilized when it comes to race. Black people handled it so much better than white people. It's so apparent. We did it so cleanly and efficiently. See, there's a difference between black people and race and white people and race. Here is President Barack Obama. Here is Henry Louis Gates Jr. Here is Joe Biden, the Vice President of the United States, as well as Officer Crowley, all sitting together having a spot of beer. So civilized. And here's white people when it comes to race. German shepherds and water hoses. Pretty sad, ain't it? And see, the funny thing is that these people with the German shepherds and the water hoses want to then now call these people over here having a beer at the White House racist. Freaking hilarious. No one is buying it. You guys are so outnumbered that we're just laughing at you now. Oh, and since you really want to talk about it, let's talk about another officer from Massachusetts, from Boston. not too far away from where this incident happened, since you don't want to say that these officers are racist or behave stupidly. Let's talk about Justin Barrett. Yeah, caught sending an email to his colleagues and friends, calling the incident with Henry Louis Gates and saying that Henry Louis Gates himself was a banana-eating jungle monkey. Do you hear that? And the fool went on to say to CNN, I am not a racist. Isn't that what they said about Crowley? He's not being racist. That's what Barbara Walters said. He ain't being racist. This officer says straight up, I am not a racist. I did not intend any racial bigotry, harm, or prejudice in my words. I sincerely apologize that these words have been received as such. What?